Ballistic missiles streak across the Persian Gulf sky. 27 American installations from Bahrain to Kuwait are under simultaneous attack. The largest Iranian missile barrage in history. At Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, Patriot batteries fire in rapid succession as 3 Shahab-3 warheads descend at Mach 7. Across the region, 14 guided missile destroyers activate Aegis combat systems. The IRGC calls it their most ferocious operation ever. They have no idea what the Pentagon is about to unleash. This is a fictional military scenario based on real U.S. armed forces capabilities. It does not depict actual events. At 06:15 hours Tehran time, the sky over Iran turned white. Operation Epic Fury, the largest joint U.S.-Israeli air campaign since the Gulf War, hit 24 provinces simultaneously. 500 targets. IRGC command centers vaporized. Air defense radars going dark one after another. Military airfields cratered before a single Iranian jet could scramble. 200 Israeli fighter jets coordinated with American F-22s, F-35s, and carrier-launched Super Hornets from the USS Gerald R. Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln. The strikes eliminated the supreme leader, the IRGC commander, the defense minister, and the secretary of Iran's National Security Council. But the regime did not collapse in silence. Within hours, Iran's surviving missile forces, pre-positioned across western Iran and hidden inside hardened mountain tunnels, received a single encrypted order from the remaining IRGC command chain. Operation True Promise 4. Every American military facility within 1,300 kilometers became a target. The scope of the retaliation was unprecedented. The IRGC Aerospace Force launched successive waves of ballistic missiles, Shahab-3s, Emads, Sajils, alongside swarms of Shahed 136 one-way attack drones. The initial salvos targeted Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, home to CENTCOM's forward headquarters and the 379th Air Expeditionary Wing, Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait. Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE, which houses the 380th Air Expeditionary Wing and its fleet of reconnaissance aircraft, and Naval Support Activity Bahrain, headquarters of the U.S. 5th Fleet, command hub for all American naval operations in the Persian Gulf. The IRGC claimed strikes against 27 separate installations across 6 nations: Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. Explosions echoed across Doha, Dubai, Riyadh, and Manama. Airports in Kuwait and Abu Dhabi sustained damage. Civilians across the Gulf rushed to shelter as air raid sirens wailed for the first time since the Gulf War. But here is what Iran did not account for. The United States had spent weeks building the most concentrated American military force in the Middle East since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. 14 Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers armed with SM-3 and SM-6 interceptors. 2 carrier strike groups generating round-the-clock sorties. Army THAAD and Patriot PAC-3 batteries pre-positioned across every partner nation, and a classified network of space-based infrared sensors tracking every launch in real time. The Pentagon's response would make the first wave of Epic Fury look like a warning shot. At CENTCOM's hardened command center in Tampa, Florida, Admiral Brad Cooper monitors the incoming threat picture on a wall of digital screens. Satellite feeds from the space-based infrared system detect Iranian missile launches within 12 seconds of ignition. Every trajectory is calculated, every warhead type identified, and every interceptor battery automatically assigned. The American defense plan operates in 3 concentric rings. The outer ring, SM-3 Block 2A interceptors fired from destroyers in the Arabian Sea and Mediterranean, engages ballistic missiles during their mid-course phase outside the atmosphere. The middle ring, THAAD batteries in the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, intercepts warheads during terminal descent at altitudes above 40 kilometers. The inner ring, Patriot PAC-3 missile segment enhanced, catches anything that penetrates the first two layers in the final seconds before impact. But defense is only half the equation. As the first Iranian missiles enter their boost phase, CENTCOM activates the counter-strike plan. The objective, locate and destroy every surviving mobile missile launcher before the IRGC can reload. F-22 Raptors at Al Dhafra, already airborne on combat air patrol, receive new targeting packages via Link 16. Their mission shifts from air superiority to SEAD, suppression of enemy air defenses. F-35C Lightning IIs launch from the deck of the Abraham Lincoln in the North Arabian Sea, each carrying 2,000-pound JDAMs. From the Gerald R. Ford in the Eastern Mediterranean, FA-18E-F Super Hornets configure for deep strike, and across the Gulf, the destroyers USS Spruance, USS Stockdale, and 11 others load Tomahawk land attack missiles into their Mark 41 vertical launch systems. Task Force Scorpion Strike, CENTCOM's newest unit, activates its fleet of low-cost one-way attack drones. Modeled after Iran's own Shahed design, these American-made munitions are about to deliver what CENTCOM calls retribution at scale. At exactly 0347 hours local time, the counter-strike order is given. Every asset fires simultaneously. This operation is just getting started. Subscribe to Operation Fury. New missions deploy every 72 hours. The first wave hits at 10:43 hours Tehran time. 16 Shahab-3 ballistic missiles arc across the Gulf toward Al Udeid Air Base. Each carries an 800-kilogram high-explosive warhead. Time to impact, 7 minutes. Over the Arabian Sea, the destroyer USS Howard detects the incoming salvo on its AN/SPY-1D radar at a range of 400 kilometers. 3 SM-3 Block 2IA interceptors launch in rapid succession, climbing through the atmosphere at Mach 13. 200 kilometers above the Gulf, the first intercept, a direct kinetic kill. The Shahab-3 warhead disintegrates. Within 40 seconds, 2 more intercepts, clean kills. But 13 missiles continue toward Qatar. The THAAD battery at Al Udeid activates, its AN/TPY-2 radar tracking multiple warheads simultaneously. 6 THAAD interceptors fire in a carefully sequenced engagement. 5 connect. 1 warhead leaks through. A Patriot PAC-3 MSE battery catches it at 12 kilometers altitude. The warhead detonates harmlessly over the desert, 3 kilometers from the base perimeter. This sequence repeats across 6 nations simultaneously. In Bahrain, the scenario is more complex. The IRGC targets Naval Support Activity Bahrain with a mixed salvo, 4 ballistic missiles and 12 Shahed 136 drones approaching from different vectors. The drones fly low, hugging the sea surface at 60 meters to avoid radar detection. A destroyer's phalanx, CIWS, engages the lead drones with 20mm tungsten rounds. 2 splash into the Gulf, but others press through. Then the complication. At 11:27 hours, Iran launches a second wave, larger, more sophisticated, and designed to overwhelm. 63 ballistic missiles fire simultaneously from positions across Kermanshah, Lorestan, and Khuzestan provinces. But this wave includes something new: decoy warheads. Iranian engineers have fitted 20 of the missiles with cheap radar-reflecting countermeasures that mimic the signature of real warheads. The Aegis systems briefly track over 80 incoming objects. On the bridge of the USS Stockdale, the tactical action officer faces a decision no simulation ever prepared him for. 83 inbound tracks, 47 interceptors remaining in the magazine. If he fires at decoys, real warheads reach Al Udeid unopposed. If he holds fire waiting for confirmation, he gambles with 3,000 American lives on the ground. He makes the call, prioritize the tracks with matching infrared signatures from the SBR's satellite constellation. Fire only on confirmed thermals. It works, but for 97 seconds, the outcome hangs on one officer's judgment. Thad catches 3 that slip past the outer ring. Patriot catches 2 more. But one EMAD ballistic missile carrying a 500-kilogram warhead impacts the runway apron at Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait. The explosion craters 80 meters of taxiway. A parked C-130J Hercules sustains shrapnel damage. No personnel are killed. The base was pre-evacuated to hardened shelters, but the runway is temporarily out of commission. It is the only direct hit on a U.S. installation across the entire barrage. CENTCOM's response is immediate. Within 4 minutes, combat engineers deploy rapid runway repair kits, pre-staged aluminum matting that restores the taxiway in under 2 hours. Meanwhile, the intelligence division at Al Udeid identifies the exact launch coordinates of the EMAD that struck Kuwait, a mobile tel hidden in a warehouse complex near Khorramabad, Iran. That location receives its own Tomahawk within 11 minutes. Meanwhile, Air Force cyber warfare specialists at Ramstein push an emergency software patch to every Aegis destroyer in the fleet. A refined discrimination algorithm that fuses satellite infrared data with radar cross-section analysis. Within 20 minutes, the entire network distinguishes warheads from decoys at 98% accuracy. Iran's best tactical innovation is dead. Now the Pentagon goes on the offensive. Phase 2 of Operation Epic Fury shifts from defense to total suppression. The objective is not to intercept Iranian missiles. It is to ensure Iran has nothing left to launch. At 0347 hours local time, 47 Tomahawk land attack missiles erupt from the vertical launch cells of 7 destroyers spread across the Arabian Sea and eastern Mediterranean. Each cruise missile flies a pre-programmed terrain-following route at 500 miles per hour, skimming the Iranian landscape at 30 meters altitude. Their targets: IRGC aerospace, force command bunkers, mobile missile staging areas, and the underground logistics tunnels that feed Iran's launcher network. Simultaneously, 12 F-22 Raptors cross into Iranian airspace from the southwest. Their mission is dead: destruction of enemy air defenses. Iran's surviving S-300 batteries and indigenous Bavar 373 systems present the last organized resistance. The Raptors fire AGM-88G AARGM-ER anti-radiation missiles from standoff range. The missiles home in on radar emissions. 8 air defense sites go dark within 6 minutes. With the air defense umbrella collapsing, the strike packages pour through. From the Abraham Lincoln, 24 F-35C Lightning IIs and F-A-18EF Super Hornets execute a coordinated deep strike into Kermanshah province, the heart of Iran's mobile missile force. Intelligence from MQ-9 Reapers orbiting at 40,000 feet has identified 31 tail vehicles attempting to relocate along Highway 48. The F-35s drop GBU-31 JDAMs. Each 2,000-pound bomb creates a crater that swallows a launcher whole. Within 18 minutes, the highway is a graveyard of twisted metal and burning propellant. But the most devastating blow comes from the most unexpected source. Task Force Scorpion Strike launches its full arsenal, over 200 low-cost one-way attack drones, built in American factories, modeled on the very Shahed design that Iran sold to Russia and used against civilians. Now they return to sender. The drones disperse across western Iran in swarms of 8 to 12, each guided by GPS and terminal infrared seekers. Their targets, the mobile launchers that conventional aircraft cannot find fast enough. The drones hunt in silence. They loiter over suspected staging areas. When an IRGC crew rolls a launcher out of a tunnel to fire, the drone identifies the thermal signature and dives. Impact. No warning. No time to launch. In 6 hours, Scorpion Strike drones destroy 73 mobile launchers, more than the previous 3 waves of manned aircraft combined. The IRGC attempts one final desperate act. At 0612 hours, 12 Sejil medium-range ballistic missiles launch from deep inside central Iran, a last salvo aimed at the 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. The Sejil is Iran's fastest missile, a solid-fueled 2-stage weapon capable of Mach 14 at terminal velocity. But the SM-3 Block 2IA was designed for exactly this threat. 3 destroyers, the USS Spruance, USS Nitze, and USS Delbert D. Black, fire a coordinated salvo of 9 interceptors. At 250 kilometers altitude, above the thin veil of atmosphere, the kinetic kill vehicles make contact. 9 for 12. The remaining 3 are caught by THAAD over Bahrain. None reach their target. The last operational IRGC launch command in Kermanshah province goes silent at 0700 hours. Whether the commanders surrendered, fled, or were eliminated by a Tomahawk that arrived 6 minutes earlier remains classified. By sunrise over the Persian Gulf, Iran's offensive missile capability no longer exists. Which defense system impressed you most? Patriot, THAAD, or Aegis? Drop your answer in the comments and tell us what scenario you want to see next. When the smoke clears over the Persian Gulf, the battlefield arithmetic is absolute. Over 14 hours of sustained combat, the IRGC launched an estimated 340 ballistic missiles and over 500 one-way attack drones against American and Allied positions across 6 nations. Of those, the multi-layered American defense network intercepted 97.6%. Only 7 projectiles made contact with military infrastructure. 1 runway cratered. 3 vehicles damaged. 0 American service members killed. 0 combat-related injuries reported across the entire theater. CENTCOM's counterstrike was equally decisive. 341 Iranian missile launchers confirmed destroyed, including 112 mobile TLs, 89 fixed launch sites, and 140 reload vehicles and support equipment. 47 IRGC command and control nodes were eliminated, severing the chain of communication between Tehran and field units. 14 military airfields rendered inoperable. And every known S-300 and Bavar 373 air defense battery in western Iran was neutralized. Task Force Scorpion Strike's debut in combat, the first operational use of American one-way attack drones, accounted for 73 launcher kills alone. The cost of each drone, approximately $50,000. The cost of each Iranian mobile launcher it destroyed, estimated at $12 million, a ratio of 240 to 1. Admiral Brad Cooper's post-operation statement called it the largest regional concentration of American military firepower in a generation. The operation involved personnel from all 6 branches of the U.S. Armed Forces: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, and Coast Guard. The geopolitical consequences rippled outward within hours. Gulf nations, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and the UAE issued joint statements condemning Iran's retaliatory strikes as violations of sovereignty. Saudi Arabia, whose capital Riyadh absorbed intercepted missile debris, labeled it brutal Iranian aggression. Jordan reported intercepting 49 drones and missiles over its territory. Inside Iran, the aftermath looked different. The IRGC's command structure, already decapitated by the elimination of its top leadership, fragmented further. With no supreme leader, no IRGC commander, and no defense minister, the remaining military apparatus faces a succession crisis with no historical precedent in the Islamic Republic's 47-year existence. Reports indicate surviving IRGC elements attempted to appoint an interim leader outside constitutional procedures, racing against the clock before daylight brought a new wave of civilian protests in Tehran, Isfahan, and Shiraz. The American Defense Network hailed. The counterstrike eliminated Iran's ability to wage offensive missile warfare, and the dual-carrier strike groups remain on station in the Gulf, fully armed and fully operational. The question now is not whether Iran can strike again. It is whether the regime itself survives the week. In a single day, the Islamic Republic launched the largest missile attack ever directed at American forces. The result? 0 U.S. casualties and the complete destruction of Iran's offensive missile infrastructure. 341 launchers eliminated, 47 command nodes erased, an entire arsenal built over decades neutralized in 14 hours. The American military machine proved what decades of investment in layered missile defense were designed for. Patriot, THAAD, and Aegis, 3 systems, 3 rings, 1 impenetrable shield. And when defense turned to offense, Tomahawks, Raptors, and Scorpion strike drones delivered a response the IRGC never imagined. But this is far from over. The IRGC has vowed the most ferocious offensive operation in history. And somewhere in Tehran, Beirut, Sana'a, and Baghdad, the orders are already moving. What happens when Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iraqi militias launch a coordinated assault on 5 countries in a single night? That scenario is coming next. Subscribe to Operation Fury and hit the bell. The next operation deploys in 72 hours.